Hi, I'm Victoria Tibbetts, and this is my persuasive speech. I am here with my mother, who is on FaceTime because she unfortunately cannot be here. My sister, she's 18, and then my father is behind the camera recording. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by handing out these papers. This is my visual aid, and these are my cards. Could you see those? Okay. All right. Days, weeks, months of uncertainty. Thousands of death. No cure. Hope is slipping away. It's a scary world that we live in. The reason of this speech is to persuade you all to stay home during the coronavirus pandemic. My name is Victoria Tibbetts, and I have done the research. I'm living in the pandemic along with you all, and I want this nonsense to end just as much as you guys do. We are strong Americans, and we will work together to conquer an enemy that we cannot see. You should stay home because it limits the spread of the virus, it's safer for all people, and the government has ordered us to do so. The first reason we will be talking about is limiting the spread of the virus. By staying home, we can easily do our part to limit the spread of the virus. This is the easiest and the most logical and effective way to limit the spread. This method has been proven to work in China, even though it was forced on them. If we do not follow the rules and the regulations, then we may need to go there too. The Washington Post said that on Thursday, March 12th, there were no new cases. This is where the virus originated, and in the middle of February, there were up to 70,000 cases there. In just a few short weeks of isolation and quarantining, the numbers were brought down significantly. By staying home, you do not run the risk of spreading germs. So the New York Times said, "These are not normal times. This is not a drill," said Dr. Gian Morazzo, Director of Infectious Diseases at the University of Alabama. "We have never been through anything like this before." This source shows us that it is a dangerous virus, and it is very serious to us, and we need to take the necessary measures to stop the spread of the germs. So you should keep in contact with the people that you live with, but if anyone in your family has been going out and has come in contact with an exposed person, then you should not be in contact with them. Essential workers must still go to work, but they should be keeping their social distancing, and they should wash up before they go home and see their family and friends. So guidelines say that you should keep your social distance, which is 6 feet at least, and you should only leave your house if you absolutely need to. If you do leave your house, then you need to wear a mask and gloves and bring hand sanitizer with you and put it on after everything that you touch. Now that we have discussed limiting the spread, we should also talk about how social distancing makes the world safer for everyone. So, although elderly and immunocompromised are the people that are most severely at risk, it's safer for everyone of every kind to stay home. This is a very dangerous virus, and it's frankly very unpredictable. You don't know how it's going to affect you. You don't know how it's going to affect your sister or your brother. So you should stay at home because no germs will get to anyone outside of your house if you stay home. So the elderlies are the most at risk. So the Telegraph Online says that in Japan, people of ages 60 and over with health issues such as diabetes, heart problems, or asthma or respiratory problems have been the first to die. New York Times from Dr. Morazzo, who I previously talked about, says, "Certainly sick families should not visit if you have vulnerable people in your family who are very old. You should limit in-person contact." So this shows us that it's very serious and you need to stay home and at all measures. So immunocompromised people make up lots of the population, and they're very susceptible to diseases. So in order to help them, everyone should stay home and take the most precautions that they can. Sarah Jones from Intelligencer is an immunocompromised being. She has been self-isolating for more than 2 weeks now, and she shows no signs of the coronavirus. If she did show signs, this would be a cough, fever, tiredness, difficulty breathing, as I'm sure you've read in the headlines. If she were to get it, this would be very dangerous for her because she is immunocompromised and her health is not as great as other people in this world. So Sarah Jones also explains that if she were to get the virus, then she'd be very susceptible because others are not doing their job and others are not taking the precautions that they should be taking. So now that we have talked about social distancing is safer for everyone, we will talk about how the government has told us that we should, and that's why we should listen to them. So the government has ordered us to stay home, and clearly we should listen, just as we would listen to anything else that they say. There are now fines in certain areas of the country, such as New York and Seattle, that if you leave your house for an unnecessary reason or knowing that you have the coronavirus, then you could get jail time or you could get fined. So they're responsible for the public health, and we could put ourselves in more danger if we don't listen to them. So this method has been proven to work in China, and China does not have a vaccine just as much as the rest of the world doesn't have a vaccine. So the Washington Post, from a different article than before, says all 34 infections diagnosed on Wednesday were people arriving into China from abroad. The National Health Commission said it was a significant milestone for the country where the first virus was reported mid-November. So this is telling us that cases came from other places that were new that day, and that no new cases had been coming up since self-isolation had started, and no one who had been self-isolating was getting the virus. So this does show us that it does work, and that if we continue to self-isolate, then we will get through this. So there are some options for people who struggle with mental health, with things such as anxiety and depression. The PR Newswire says that Happy is giving 2 free emotional support sessions, and Happy is an app that offers emotional support to people in need. This is not a government requirement or anything like that. I just think that you guys should know this in case your family member or a friend is struggling with mental health. So these 3 points have backed up my reasoning to stay home during the coronavirus pandemic. So this paper that I've given you all it shows us the symptoms of coronavirus, the spread over the country since April 11th, and the last picture is China and people who have been sick, and it just shows the extreme devastation that they have had to endure. So in conclusion, staying home is your absolute best option. If you cannot stay home, then you need to social distance from other people, because that is your next best option. This is a very, very scary world that we live in, and we are going to get through it as long as we listen to the rules and regulations that the government has given us, such as social distancing and staying at home. You should stay home because it limits the spread of the virus, it is safer for everyone, and the authorities have ordered us to do so. So, we all know people that are at risk for this disease. Your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, anyone really, your friend, your grandma. Anyone could be seriously infected by this disease. Imagine living with yourself, knowing that you caused someone to get this disease.